Who are we missing on team 2? Looks like we are missing one Demoniac. Gonna be first one up versus Chicago as an enhanced Shamancer array to go. I still love what you've done with that weapon. Look how good it looks. That Shadowlandsy look together with the orange outline, it looks wicked. Gonna be Chicago taking a bit of damage into a quick thunder onto Demonic as the rogue goes in for a bit of a hit and run, gets in there, gets some damage, backs up out immediately, with Chicago trying to see if they can potentially just chase after him. Got the Ghost Raptors in, but they cost the auto attacks through the wall. Oh my god, Demonic even goes out of the way to take down the Earthbind Totem. Is going to be a static totem, trying to see if he can maybe potentially put him in a bad spot. He's going to try to see if he can, I think, take down the totem while Sun in Chicago trying to establish some control, and so is Chicago. But yet last time, it's going to be big. LA Blaster follows Demonic is in a pretty bad spot. Next Lightning Bolt could be very, very deadly. Does achieve death, but does need to find a way to reach out Chicago. Got the Raptors in there. Maybe Raptors can be somewhat helpful. They are going to add a little bit extra pressure. Demonic could be in a lot of trouble. Next Lightning Bolt could be extremely deadly. Actually still taking quite a bit of substantial damage right now. Maybe in a lot of trouble to Chicago. If they can only catch up to him, they'll have a golden kid shot to follow the trick. Oh! Focus shadows for Demoniac as he's trying to see if he can deny cheat and death for Chicago. That was maybe a little bit of a ballsy move going in for a trinket just to get himself a LA Blast or a Lightning Bolt in there. That was a lot. Demonic still have not too big defense, picking up the food over his side of the team and should be able to sit down for food. If Chicago is fast enough, they'll know exactly where they're at and should hopefully be able to reconnect as Demonic sitting down for food. Nothing he can do in this situation. The guy is going to go for an entire reset. Going in for the hit and runs, but doesn't really want to stay out there. Hoping to build comp points maybe off of the Raptors, but that auto attack through the wall definitely not helping. Kidder shot is going to be side totem, pulling him back in. Knockback, trying to keep Demonic in there. Doesn't really want to break the totem. He's going to wait it out. Quick blind into Chicago. It is going to be 90 yard, actually full blind, as the Raptors are going to be dissipating in the last second. Chicago maybe can get back over there, but the auto attacks, dude. Oh my god. As a rogue main, don't get me wrong, I love acrobatic strikes. That's I think been a fun part about Outlaw for the longest, because it used to be an Outlaw only thing. But ever since the last few expansions, it kind of broke it where you can auto attack through a pillar, and as a rogue main, while it is convenient to have an extra reach, I don't really like the big idea of like auto attacking through a which should be actual line to side. Big Yellow Blast onto Demoniac, does drop down a smoke bomb. Can Chicago potentially capitalize on this one? Got Ghost Raptors on the ready, potentially maybe could have himself a second blast, and it's gonna get super, super low. No cheat death just yet. Kidder shot to follow, knockback for a second, try to see if he can reposition with Chicago. That Kidder shot is definitely gonna stun Chicago's movement for a little bit here. I don't know if they can potentially catch up. Try to see if he can establish root. Demonic able to take out Totem, but keeping him in combat. It's gonna be another static totem to follow. In case Demonic goes anywhere, it's gonna try to grip away from Pillar. It's gonna take him out. Where was that cheat death? What happened to the cheat death? Did it just like not proc? Hold on a second. All right, well at least, okay, you have a bit of a trade-off. Rogue can hit through a wall. Can hit through literally a impermeable object, but his cheat death just doesn't work. So I guess it's a bit of a trade-off. Big zapper onto Moose as the man tried to see if he can potentially take that Chicago activating Guardian Spirits to try to get himself a bit of recovery. Double fire Wolf is double fire Raptors available. It's only going to maximize the damage of your elemental blast, maybe lava lashes. Big bites out of the feral druid with the wall. Chicago does go down. Oh, that was a lot of damage all at once. With Rav going to be up next. Brett to follow onto Bose. Try to see if he can maybe get some damage in. Going to be a full maim. Does have ultra time by the looks of it. It should be able to reset with a bit of a missile. Should be able to pour back towards Moz. Try to see if he can take him down. Big missiles to follow Barrage. Oh, got him so close. Is going to go in for aggressive blink just to land that interrupt. Is going to go for shifting power immediately to reset his cooldowns little by little. My goodness. Rosie Blink going to be up next as a fire major. Rosie versus Roth. Gonna be big combustion on Rosie. I'm not sure if that's a real combustion or is it just a proc. Roth is making sure to try to clean him up as best as possible, trying to remove as many buffs as he can. And I think I also went for the ultra time in case things go rough. Is gonna have the ultra time, does get to immune any kind of interrupts from Rosie. Is gonna be able to punish him with big damage. Full touch of the magic at the ready. That's a lot of output. Mad Arcane Blast is gonna be ultra time for Rosie just to see if they can potentially get some recovery. Missing that fire breath, which is gonna be detrimental, but a barrage could potentially be good for Rob to get to. Phoenix Flames flying in, more missiles potentially could be an ice block out of Rosie, as is going to be Felipe with a 12-month membership. My man making an entire year. Can we get a hashtag Felipe in the chat with Rav going in for a little bit of that shit and power? Rosie, not really in a fantastic spot. Could go for an ice block. Another touch of magic. It's going to be juke out for Rav. Could take him out right there. Oh my god, cauterized into an ice block. It looked like he had ultra time above his head, but that was another buff entirely. So Ralph does end up forcing out everything out of Rosie. Trying to get Juke out of kick. It is going to be able to get Juke down. Trying to see if he can end the duel right there. Can he do it? Big spark to follow. Does Rosie have enough survivability? Rob just needs to make sure he doesn't get disrupted. Big mass blasts are coming down for Rosie with the barrage to follow. Touches magic is still on him. Could be a lot of damage. I think it's oh, and Rob does end up drilling him down with I-Dot. He does not want to give this Warlock much of an opener. He's going to try to go for a reflect and interrupted him. So what Rob did there, he actually reflected and interrupt back at himself, which is going to force pre-med or precognition off of him, and it actually is able to reflect and interrupt to proc and interrupt precog, giving yourself a lot of haste and immunity to CC as well as interrupts. It's actually a very interesting play. You're able to turn around that spell reflectability against the enemy target. Big arcade surge by Rav as Dot, you're trying to see if you can reposition away from him. Gonna be able to get some dots in, and as long as they're careful about their defensives, they may be okay. Rav trying to maximize touch of magic, gonna be the Dark Pact. She'll be able to break through it very quickly. Mortal Coil is gonna keep him alive here, but it is Rav keeping himself alive right now with it all the time. So try to see if he can get some damage around the corner. Reflect out for Dot Yum, was able to go for a barrage. I think was not able to reflect it though, but it could be wrong in this one. Trying to keep the barrages and the Arcane Orbs going in. Dot Yum popping off a big wall right now. This is his main primary defensive. So this could be quite interesting. Either you are going to be able to maximize the defensive, or you kind of using it a little bit preemptively, maybe where you should have just held it for a little bit later. So Rav should be very, very careful because Datyum, if he has a Mortal Coil, port next to the guy, Mortal Coil could be really deadly. Gonna be a big drain life. Does get a shot on Shadow, could be really bad for Datyum. Trying to see if he can go for a cast. It's gonna be Rav teleporting around all over the place into a big touch of the magic before the barrage can even reach him. Able just to crush down and condense all that pressure against the Warlock. With the Shadow Priest up next with Sedi. I'm gonna call you Sedi. Up next with Rob trying to see if he can back up out of it. Got himself a Ring of Fire. There's gonna be Nova onto Sed, who's trying to see if he can get himself a better angle. He's gonna have to run through the fire, right? Jumping straight into the flames, straight into the danger of it all. Rob trying to see if he can get himself a bit of images with a bit more shift and power. Looking for that cooldown reduction with Sed as he went in for the most amount of damages now, but is really unable to reach. As a priest, you don't really have that much mobility. Invis opener for Rob. It's going to be immediate silence by Sed. Trying to see if he can maybe push Sed around the corner. Touch of the magic going to be up with a Siphon. Rob trying to be extra careful. Big blast to follow Sed. Trying to go for a full disperse. Maybe hold on. Touch of the magic can still do a lot of damage. Does it slam outside of disperse? Does slam outside of disperse, but looks like it was reduced by quite a bit. However, I was thinking touch of the magic, if you could time it right, slam a bunch of damage while the enemy is dispersed. By the time they come out of disperse, they could take a lot of damage. It all depends how touch of the magic calculates the damage. If it is diminished by disperse, it's not as effective. If it isn't, then you have a lot of delay potential here. Sed not doing all that great right now on health. Breath by Ruff. Does he have enough right here? Going for a barrage. It's not going to be enough though. Trying to see if he can establish some CC. Sed trying to make sure to reposition himself, and Ruff got himself lots of cooldown reduction. Does get himself the interrupt, but it's going to be a silence to follow by Sed right after. Got himself a mixture of shadow as well as holy damage. Big barrages though by Ruff, and does end up taking him out. Just went in for it. He got himself touch of magic, couple of procs of missiles, and just went in there. Well done, my man, Rob, going in. The team too were even playing a man down, and then were able to get themselves with the help of my boy Seabark, as well as Chicago doing quite a bit of work too.